All right, hey, it's Paul from paulsilly.com. Today's topic is learning languages. And I speak several languages. I speak fluent Chinese, Mandarin Chinese, and Japanese. I used to speak Swedish, never fluently though, but I did speak it on a regular basis. And I understand quite a bit of Spanish, so I like to listen to Spanish radio, and I like to, read Swedish books. But there's two languages that I really have, and they're two of the most difficult languages for English speakers. So a lot of people ask me how I do it. I've done all kinds of things, just to give you an idea that I really do speak it. I translated for the Olympics for athletes. I translated for 60 Minutes reporter for the Sichuan earthquake. I did been on many Chinese television shows. I managed my company in Chinese, and in Japanese, a similar story. Japanese I speak very fluently and very comfortable in Japanese. And I would say that if I woke up tomorrow and I never could speak English again, like say you disappeared, and I had to speak either Chinese or Japanese for the rest of my life, I would be very comfortable with that. And I consider that to be fluent. So whether you know every single word, but if you feel like you could raise children and you could, have a career and you could have a fulfilling life and be into art and you could write poetry and do things like that, then I would say that you are fluent. So whether you're perfect by other people's standards, but I think in your life, the guy down the street, the guy who owns the butcher shop, and there's different types of fluency and there's different type of language ability, and it's definitely not a zero-sum game, and it's not I'm better than you, you're better than, you know what I mean? It's not that at all. It's all about functioning in the real world, being able to connect with people on an emotional basis. So a lot of people ask me, or they'll say to me when they see me speak Chinese or Japanese, they'll say, oh, people must be really blown away when you speak Chinese or when you speak Japanese. And I gotta tell you, that is like the most boring thing for me ever. I have no interest at all in being a party trick or impressing people with anything. What I consider a language, the reason why I learn a language is not for money either. I haven't found learning a language to be that profitable, to be honest. It's very difficult. It's much easier to get an MBA than it is to learn a difficult language. So it's not money. It's not to blow people away, right? And it's not for business, really. Why would you learn a foreign language, and can you learn a foreign language? I think the number one reason, probably dating is one of the top ones for me. I like to have relationships in other languages. I like to have a lover who doesn't even speak English, where we can do our whole relationship in another language. I really enjoy that. I really enjoy the learning together, and I don't know, it's a very deep connection, really. When you learn a language with another person that you love, it's a very deep connection. I can't really describe it, but I can tell you it's one of the most meaningful things I've ever had in my life. And so I look for it again and again. I really enjoy it. It's something that it's so hard to put into words, but it's like only they know what you know, and they care about you enough to push you, and you're trying and you're trying and you're trying and you're trying to really, because you care about them, and you're really trying to reach a higher level. And it's just like magic happens, and you learn a word. You'll be sitting there on a Saturday or whatever, and then you learn a new word, and then the person will have a huge smile on their face, and they'll be like, you got it, right? It's not just saying the word. It's like, you got it, you got everything, you got the tone, you got the context, you nailed that word, you got it. And that kind of thing is really super. It's very meaningful. That's all I can say. So dating is one big thing, and I would say also emotional connection, because if I live in a country and I don't speak the language, my ability to communicate with other people is based on their academic ability. So in other words, how much they studied in school and if they lived overseas. I don't want to base my life on other people's skills, okay? I'm going to take a responsibility into my own hands. I'm not going to look for a person who speaks my language perfectly. I'm going to find somebody that I like, who's interesting, and I'm going to learn their language. Okay? And that, like I said, that in itself is enjoyable, but also, obviously, learning the language is very, very enjoyable. And it's something that it really adds to your life. Okay? So what is fluency? Okay, so a lot of people ask me, are you fluent? I hear a lot of bullshit, really a lot of bullshit online about what is fluency, what is language, who speaks it, how many languages does so-and-so speak. And I want to put my spin on it. And I think I have the right. I've really been overseas since the 80s. I've seen so many situations, and I can say this, that the one problem that you have as a person who's interested in learning languages, is that you don't know what's real and what's not real. So for example, if I told you, I said, hey, I speak 16 languages, how would you know, right? How would you know? I could just, like say a few sentences in each language, and you'd be like, oh, I speak 16 languages. And then but even if I speak to, say, a native speaker, so I go to them and I say those things, they're not professional analysts, right? They might just say, oh yeah, he speaks fluently, right? So the information that you get is very bad, but I can tell you this, that very, very few people are comfortable in difficult foreign languages, okay? And by comfortable is, like I said before, is the ability to really live your life, to do the things you want to do in that language. And again, I consider that is the gold, man. That is what you want. You want to be able to essentially have another life. Okay, you have another personality in this other language, right? You really do. In each language, you have a little bit of a different personality, and sometimes very different. And it's a really enjoyable thing, because you're not a simple person, right? We are not simple people. We're complex. We have a lot inside of us, right? We have a lot to give. We have a lot to uncover of ourselves. And learning languages is you really reach down deep in the well. You really go deeper than you usually go. And in fact, some people, when they're studying languages, actually kind of go crazy. One of my friends actually really lost it completely and took his clothes off and ran through the streets, and he thought he was Jesus or something. Luckily he's great now. He's very successful, but the stress of learning the language in the very peak and the heat of it cannot be exaggerated if you're really if you're really going for it. So be ready for some very, very stressful times if you really want to learn a language, because you have to put yourself through these barriers. Okay, it's like the famous saying is like, everything that you want is outside of your comfort zone. Okay, so learning a language is definitely going to be outside your comfort zone. And I don't care if you know any languages now. I'm talking about the next one. Okay, you're a different age. It's a different situation. You're learning it for a different reason. You're in different circumstances. Even if you don't really think about it, you've changed. Okay, from the last time you learned a language. And if you're new, it's really like, whoa, what am I in for? Okay, so that's the difficult. So I would say that's the bad of it, is that it really is outside your comfort zone, and it can push you to your limits. And also you will increase your limits because you really learn how to deal with these tougher things. And that's good, right? Okay, so what are the good things about learning a language? Is there's so many, I can't even really describe it. I think that the richness of your life and the ability to create things, to express yourself, to discover yourself is unprecedented. I mean, like, they've done a lot of studies on things like Alzheimer's and how to stop Alzheimer's. And the initial studies said you could use some kind of, word game or whatever, and then your mind would work hard for that word game, and that would teach you enough that your brain would, heal, and you wouldn't have Alzheimer's. And there was all these research that's been going on, but the latest research is really there's only a couple things that you can do to really change your life, okay? To really change your mind, to really put your mind on that treadmill where it's actually working, right? Where you got that processor heated and it's really, really running, right? There's only a couple ways, and the one way is to learn a foreign language. That is the proven best way. It's like unbelievable the changes you have to go to. And the only other one I know is to have a child, because that is something that pushes you into a situation where you can't stop it, right? They're going to be there all the time. They're going to wake you up. They're going to do things all the time. You're going to have to learn all the time. And I think those are the only two things I can think. Maybe living in a foreign country, so that's kind of connected a little bit, because you travel or you live there. But yeah, those are the basic things that you can do to really improve your, I would say, to get out of the rut that you're in, So that's the other advantage, a huge advantage to learning foreign languages, is that you can get totally out, and you will be thrown out, you're physically thrown out of the rut that you're in by learning this foreign language. So I'm not going to talk about which one or which you should learn, or we're not going to go into the specifics of how to do it right now. I just want to see how many people on my YouTube channel are interested in being fluent in another language. Because I just kind of want to sense it out. If nobody's interested, then I won't do any more. But if you're interested, I am fluent, and I do have very unique strategies for learning languages. I actually, side note, is I took a master's course, which was teaching English as a second language. Was it TSP? I can't remember what it was. Either way, I signed up for it, and I studied at Aston University, UK university. They had an adjunct branch in Tokyo, and I went far enough to find out that they had different learning, basically theories, different very clear theories by Noam Chomsky and people like that, people that actually have a unique theory about learning languages. And I studied all those theories, and I talked to my teachers, and my way of learning is very unique. So I might try to create a full-on system at some point, but at this point, just basically free advice. I'd like to see who's interested. Would you like to learn a foreign language? Would you like to be fluent in a foreign language? Are you up for that kind of challenge? And do you see that as something interesting? Yeah. And if you do, go ahead and comment below. Like I said, always subscribe to the channel so you get more of the videos. And you can email me directly at paul@paulsalo.com. PAULSALO.com, and I will go ahead and we can communicate directly. So I'm not a robot, I'm not a Illuminati, I'm a real person, so feel free to contact me if you have a question. And if you really are interested, let me know, and let me know why, okay? Because like I said, it is a big challenge, right? And it's a challenge that I'm going through now, because I'm actually learning another language right now. I'm learning Thai, so it's kind of on my mind right now. So, and I'm going back through my old strategies, and I'm putting them into Thai, so that I can use everything that I learned before, kind of on accident when I was learning my first language, and then my second one where I kind of put it into structure a little bit, and now it's becoming more and more structured, where I understand what worked and what didn't work. I would say it takes about 6 months of intense study to get good at a language. It takes about, say, 14 months to be fluent, if you really do it the way I'm talking about. So it's there's the gauntlet, and I just want to know how many people are up for it. So thanks for watching, and catch you next time.